Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Ronnie.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, and morning, ladies, and I think I should be saying gentlemen as well. I think there are a few in the audience. I was sort of rehearsing this, thinking I'm just going to say good morning, ladies, but welcome to the gents as well. And so, folks, I'm going to take you on a journey this morning, and that journey is to the roof of the world, and I want to get us onto the mountain as soon as we possibly can. And so, the slide that you see on the pic is actually, it's a picture of me, 21st of May 2006. I'm at 8,700 meters. I'm wearing the red down suit. I'm at the crux of the climb, place called the second step. Struggling to breathe. I'm behind my teammates. I don't realize that I have an oxygen mask that's not functioning too well. And as I ascend the step, there are two Russian climbers that meet me, and they say to me, in my best Russian, "Ronnie, where you go?" And I breathlessly say to them that I'm pushing for the summit. And they can see this look of passion and determination in my eyes. And they say to me, "Ronnie, we turn." They had turned 150 vertical meters from the summit. And folks, this is what I was looking at. I had a height gain of 150 meters to climb a distance of 450 meters. It would take me about 2 hours. And I knew that I was not going to complete that journey that day. It was time for me to turn. What made that decision so incredibly difficult was that I'd been dreaming about that moment for 27 years of my life. As a young man living in London, I had shared this dream of wanting to climb Everest. I'd closed the cover of a book called The Impossible Victory. It was written by the first climbers to summit Everest without oxygen, Peter Habler and Reinhold Messner. And I was so inspired by that story that I wrote in my diary, "I want to climb Everest," on the 14th of September 1979. Now, I know most of you are saying, Ronnie, yeah, it's easy to just fabricate that. 14th of September 1979. I mean, who writes stuff in a diary and who keeps it for that matter? Well, I want to show you that diary entry. But please bear in mind that I was a young 24-year-old living in London. So there are going to be entries in that diary that I probably don't want you to see. So let's just we'll have a quick look, and there you can see highlighted, "I want to climb Everest." And so I know what you're doing. You're going to be wanting to read the rest of it, so I'm moving on. Let's move on from there. And so, having turned around and faced this decision, for me, big dreams don't die that easily. And I held on to that big dream, and I was approached by 4 South Africans back here in Cape Town in South Africa and said, "Ronnie, we want you to lead us the following year in 2007. And I found myself back on Everest, once again looking up at this incredible mountain as she stared down at me. Her stare is incredible. It really does take your breath away. And found myself heading back to base camp, this time to attempt this mountain for a second time. Crazy. People were saying to me, "You're obsessed." Yes, I think you need a degree of obsession to want to embark on a journey of this nature. I really do believe you do. And so I found myself back in base camp, and this is base camp on the north side of Everest. And this was our camp. And as the leader, and as a South African from those old years, I thought that we're going to pitch our tents in a nice straight line, army style. Can you see those tents in a nice straight line? That was the South African expedition. And then the Australians came along and the New Zealanders, and they were kind of like all over the show. And I thought, why am I doing this? This is old conditioning, old stuff, old South African style, straight lines. So we spent a bit of time in base camp. What you realize right off the bat, within the first day, is that it's a miserable place. Temperatures at night, you're sleeping on the glacier, around minus 20 degrees Celsius. And it's cold. And you'd have a meal and go to bed with absolutely frozen feet. Don't know about you folks, but there's nothing worse than getting into bed with cold feet. So what I would do is I'd kindly go to my Sherpa team and say, would you mind boiling up some water? And I'd put it into a Nalgene bottle. It's a bottle that can withstand boiling water. Put it inside my sleeping bag so that, hey, I have some warm feet. But of course, if you do want to have a wee at night, the last thing you want to be doing is getting up at 2 a.m. in the morning, having to put on a gear, put on a boot, and of course you're at 5,300 meters and things are taking a little bit of time. Put on one boot, put on another boot, and get out of this warm sleeping bag, unzip one layer of tent, get another layer of tent just to go and stand, sorry ladies, squat for 90 seconds just to, do what you need to do. Much easier to do it in the tent. Sorry, don't get it. I don't mean in the tent. And the fortunate thing is being a male, we can make use of a pee bottle. And as a man, I can choose the size to suit myself. Sorry, I'm sorry. I should keep this clean, apologies. But of course, the ladies, you've got much more of a challenge. And I'm sure your minds are wondering, how on earth, what do you do when you need to take a leak inside a tent? They've invented a wonderful little device, it's called a shiwi. Isn't that a cool name? I'm not going to tell you how it works. When you next see Elizabeth, ask her about the shiwi, and she'll tell you a wonderful story. It's a most amazing thing. But of course, if you have now filled up this Nalgene bottle, what do you do with it? You get up in the morning, and you put it outside your sleeping bag, obviously. It's frozen. So you get out in the morning and you've got this bottle of yellow frozen liquid. So you put it outside your tent, to tell your fellow teammates how busy you were at night? It's much easier because it's going to take time for it to thaw. Much easier, you just put it inside your sleeping bag, along with everything else. Your water, anything with a battery, camera gear, satellite phone, cameras, cell phones. Because you need to have those bits of gear kept warm, otherwise batteries, of course, go dead and get cold. But of course, if you have got thirsty at 4 a.m. in the morning, and you've had a leak at 2 a.m. in the morning, and you reach into your sleeping bag and you find this bottle, and you think, oh my word, is this my water bottle or is this the other bottle? I assure you, you only make the same mistake once. You'll only make that mistake once. You'll never drink out of that bottle ever again. I have a horrible pink-colored bottle, and knowing that even in the dimmest of light, even if my head torch is not working so well, that's a bottle that I'm not going to be drinking out of. And so we spend a bit of time in base camp, and then it's time to start moving up the mountain. And we're actually going to live on the slopes of Everest for a period of about 2 months. So we're there for a long, long time, and we're going to start this process of acclimatization. We're going to move up the mountain, we're going to climb high, and we're going to sleep low. Wonderful lesson for me, that sometimes, the one thing about Everest is that it isn't something that can happen instantaneously. It's a wonderful lesson, because we live in this world nowadays where everything is instantaneous. We push a button and we get a result. We cannot do that with acclimatization. We have to go through the process of going up and down, constantly getting our bodies used to being able to function at altitude. We don't have time to keep doing that in this presentation, but as we move from base camp up to an advanced base camp, we're now at 6,500 meters. Now we're starting to run out of breath and air. We're only getting about 50% of the oxygen that you and I are privileged to be breathing right now. And you get up in the morning and everything is breathless. As you put on your gear, put on a boot, you make your way out of a tent down to a dining tent. And of course, in conditions like this, it's even more difficult and more challenging. It takes ages for everything to happen. You start feeling a bit nauseous, probably got a bit of a mild headache. And all of you are probably wondering, what on earth do you want to be doing that for? Voluntarily as well. Why would you do that? hopefully as this unfolds, you'll get some sense of the views and what's happening on the mountain, that you'd really start appreciating and maybe getting some insights into what is it that drives someone to want to be able to do this. And so as we leave Advanced Base Camp and we start heading up the slopes of the mountain, we start getting involved with some steeper ground. We're on snow and ice all of the time. Steeper ground where suddenly things start becoming quite serious from a climbing perspective. We're now on steep ground where in positions like this, you really have to start thinking about absolutely everything you are doing. There's this wonderful New Age cliche where they talk about living in the moment. Eckhart Tolle, Just Now, all these wonderful books. But do we really grasp what that means? Wow, this was a wonderful lesson for me. I got it. I just got it. I knew that every single step became thought about. Bit of a crazy way to live. It's really bizarre. But you have to be thinking about every move, because your life literally does depend upon it. Quite an amazing situation. Of course, we get a couple of little challenges, more so on the south side and the north side, and they come in the form of aluminium ladders crossing crevasses. Crazy. Why on earth and who ever prepares you to be able to walk across a ladder with a pair of crampons on boots? And you'll notice that my buddy Andy is looking down. It's the last thing you want to be doing. You actually don't want to be looking down into this crevasse. And you'll notice that his crampons are just touching the one front rung and the back crampons touching the other. To give you an idea of what it's like to actually be looking down a crevasse when you're standing on a ladder, that's what it's like. A real challenge. How do you prepare for this? How do you train for this? What I now encourage people to do is, if they happen to own a swimming pool, is to get hold of an aluminium ladder, stretch it across their swimming pool, put on a pair of boots, and give it a go. Because there's no other mountain on the planet that has these unique situations, these ladders crossing crevasses. It's completely different in all other parts of the world. But of course, it's when you get to one of these that you start saying, no, hang on now. No, this is crazy. You've got 4 ladders tied together. They're bits of old rope and they move. You've almost got to dance your way up them. They move a little to the right, a little to the left, a little up and down.